Shalom Aleichem to everybody, and a very, very good morning. Chesed HaShem, we have this wondrous opportunity, and we're just speaking here in the Beis HaMedrash about Eretz Yisrael, the Geula process. And Chesed HaShem, big things are happening, and it's a zchus to be here in Eretz Yisrael, and all of those people outside of Eretz Yisrael, we have you in mind. Especially in our Daled Amos here, in our Daled Amos, we're very makpid before Tefillah. We have a number of times 20 seconds of shtika, just to think about Am Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael, Am Yisrael chutz la'aretz, and this was a hanhaga of the Pilsner Rav Rabbi Singer. So Be'ezras Hashem, a couple of nakudas, please. Number one, as I mentioned, Mamash, welcome back, Shana Tova Masuka. In regards to sponsorship, we have an anonymous sponsorship that sponsored the whole series, and I just want to have him in mind. He's beautiful, he's wonderful, he's fantastic, he's a pain in the tuchus as well, and we love him. As well, in regards to this opportunity, I just want to wish a bracha and hatzlacha, just a continuous success. Mazel tov to the Goldstein family, Baruch HaShem, the birth of a baby girl, Rebbetzin and Rabbi Goldstein, they should have bracha, mazel, and hatzlacha. As well to the Kasper family, they should have bracha, mazel, and hatzlacha. To the Bennett family, they should constantly have bracha, mazel, and hatzlacha. To the Shulman family, they should have bracha, mazel, and hatzlacha. As well to the women's chabura, they should have bracha, mazel, and hatzlacha. And as well, and he's here today, Siyata Dishmaya, to the Finkelstein family. Talk about brain fog on the bar mitzvah. Baruch Hashem, they had a bar mitzvah, and they should have bracha, mazel, and hatzlacha. So Be'ezras Hashem, we should mamash go from strength to strength. Okay, Chevra. So something which is really important is the changes that's occurring within Am Yisrael and the changes that are occurring within the human species. Before certain elements of technology or certain elements of national changes, starting with the Industrial Revolution, the human species, probably at this point, we don't even remember what was. I don't know if there's anybody left. I was zeicha to meet somebody when I was about 7 years old. Somebody who was 112 years old. And I spoke to them, and the changes that they incurred were immense. And then I spent a lot of time researching, and it may sound a little bit strange, but a lot of time listening to videos and audios of old people from 50 years ago. So 60 years ago. So it's interesting, there's very early recordings from the 1940s and 1950s of people that are over 100 years old. And to listen to them and to hear their story of how they grew up and what they saw and the changes they experienced, it's like we could very easily miss it. Just take, for example, when I grew up, we had in the house we had two phones. I remember as a kid, we had the phones that you turn. You had the phones that you turn, you put your finger in. I don't know what it was like in America. You had those as well? What's the name of them? What are they called? A rotary phone. So you put your finger in. So I remember as a kid, my grandparents had one. I remember as a kid, like we had one. Then we moved to phones that you press the buttons. And it's interesting because I remember speaking to my mother about that. And she remembers, and she wasn't allowed to use it, but she remembers in their house, they had a phone where you had no dials. It was in they had a phone where you spoke and they had no dials. That was in her grandparents' house, a box on the wall. And then they moved. Obviously, she grew up with the rotary phone. And then we had the phones that you have to press the buttons. And now, it's an amazing thing. That cultural shift, we just have to say a word into a device and Shalom Yisrael, they call. So these changes, unless we speak about them, they're missed. If we give our children a rotary phone, I wonder if they know actually what to do with it. I think in my house maybe they do, because I'm very pedantic in sharing these little vortelach Oh, there was a rotary phone, and on the computer, this is what we bring it up, this is what it looked like, this is a cassette player, this is what it looks like. The Metzius is, there's changes happening within our species. And that's very Toradic, that's very Geuludic. It's something which we have to take note of. And I'm not going to go into it now, but just to bring it up that right now we're experiencing tremendous change. We have a Medina, we're all forced to confront our differences. It isn't easy, and we have to deal with it, and it takes maturity. So I just want to bring that up, whatever that registers as within your minds, let it be, but just to be aware there's changes occurring. There's as well a change that needs to occur in our relationship with our Yiddishkeit and the Beira Olam. And Tachlis, yesterday in the Women's Chabura, we spoke about some shifts in our relationship with HaShem Yisbarach, dynamics that we can uphold in our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. These, what I'm about to share with you, is from a kuntras that is labeled, because as people know who have to deal with my editing, typically my contrasim, the contrasim that I wrote, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me the Siyata D'Shmai to write, have very odd headings. They have very odd headings. So this one is called What Do I Believe In, and How Am I Meant to Relate to what do I believe in? That's the heading. We have to find something a little bit better, but that's it. So what do I believe in? What do we believe in? We're talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What do we believe in? And how can I relate, or how do I relate to what I believe in? And why I penned this kuntras, it was based on shiurim, just so people should know background. A lot of the kuntrasim and the sfarim, I think there's well over 100. There's well over 100 books, Baruch Hashem, and there's well over 100 kuntrasim. I don't think that's an exaggeration. I mean, the Shulchan Aruch just alone is over 1,000 pages. I have sift by sift a breakdown of the Shulchan Aruch. We were looking at it yesterday. It's so nice. I get excited looking at it, which I guess is a good thing. So it's what the halacha is, what's the source of the halacha, mindfulness practice, a little bit of lomdus, and then a Kabbalistic understanding of the halacha, machshava Kabbalah. It's nice stuff. And typically they were either my notes or they were shiurim. And at times as well, they were things that were just on my mind, that were bothering me. So I remember when I was about 15 or 16, it really bothered me. Like, what am I believing? What is this God business? What is this HaShem? Oh, HaShem. Oh, very special HaShem. And I have friends of mine, when I studied martial arts, I had friends of mine, and they didn't believe in God. So it's interesting, like, okay, I believe in something called God. You don't believe in something called God. What's the difference? Like, why do I believe in God? Oh, I had a good upbringing. I had a nice upbringing. My parents are my gods. My mummy, my daddy, they are my gods. And they love each other and have good shalom bayis. And they brought us up to give us space. So culturally, okay, I love Hashem as well. I love Judaism. I had good experiences. So is that it? Is that it? Maybe, and maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. But it did bother me. It's like, I remember I spoke to my father, what do we believe in? What is it? What is it? And number two is, how can we relate to what we believe in? And this kuntras is about, it's about 110 pages. And it tries to struggle and battle with these two questions. And obviously it could always be better and upgraded. But I just found in my life, these were two things that I felt were really important. And some elements I wish to share with you now, specifically of how to try and build a relationship, to cultivate a relationship with what we believe in. I'm not dealing with the first one of what we believe in. That I'm leaving. But how do I start to build a relationship with what I believe in? And what I came to realize is that for me in my life, and as well I've over the years come to realize for so many other people, it's very linear. What does that mean? That, yeah, there's a God and I do Torah mitzvahs. Like, oh, okay, that's interesting. There's Hashem and there's Torah mitzvahs and I do Torah mitzvahs. Now, in that conversation, for that moment, a person may have been conscious, there's Hashem and I do Torah mitzvahs. But the first thing I realized is that there are a lot of people out there who, what I call off the grid. What does that mean? They're not conscious. They're not conscious. They are living their lives, and it's auto. It's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Auto drive. They're just going. And really, that's okay as well. Again, it's like nice. Oh, everyone should be conscious. But the Metzius is, if somebody's doing something good and they're not conscious, it's better than a person being unconscious and doing something bad. So people who are asleep and they're not awake with life, they're not awake with Yiddishkeit, and they're asleep with their Yiddishkeit, and they are living a good, healthy life. Kol hakavod, that's like something. So that's the first observation. The first observation is that there are many people out there that are asleep with their Yiddishkeit. They're really asleep with their living. They don't have these sorts of conversations necessarily. Maybe intellectually they will awaken when they learn, but apart from that, outside of their learning, they come to daven and they're asleep. They walk out and they go to work and they're asleep. Maybe certain things will awaken them, but for a moment. But typically there is a segment of society which are doing Torah mitzvahs and they're asleep, and that's good.
What does it mean to be asleep?
They're not conscious. What does it mean to be asleep? They're not conscious. They're just doing autopilot. They get up in the morning without thinking and without kavanah. They are programmed within themselves to wash their hands. They're programmed to say Maida Ani. They're programmed to go to shul. They're programmed to make a bracha. And that is okay. That's good. Like I remember I spoke to Biala Rebbe about this, and he says, who are you to say? Who are you to say that's okay or not okay? All you can say is that it's okay. Remember, Biala Rebbe, gun ho, everyone should be conscious. Das, everyone should be conscious. And he said, stop it. Like, you're a fool. You're a fool, stop it. The nakuda of a person keeping Torah mitzvahs in what we call a sleep state, chaz Hashem, that's okay. It's okay. That's one shlav. Then there's another shlav of obedience. And I'm not necessarily going in order here, but there's another shlav of what we call obedience. What's obedience? So in life, they're asleep, but when they come to Torah mitzvahs or certain junction points, they will awaken and say, I'm doing this because of HaShem. I'm doing this because HaShem has commanded me to do this. So they can have many junction points where it's not complete sleep state, but they are very obedient. I'm keeping Torah mitzvahs because Hashem commanded me to keep Torah mitzvahs. So they may stop and they may say, I'm now making a bracha, or I'm now doing this, or I'm now doing that. They are aware that they are doing something in halacha. They are aware that they're keeping something from the Shulchan Aruch. And outside of that, then they switch off. Outside of that, and that's as well. We're not saying one is bad and one is good. We're saying just an observation of what is. And obviously, I'm just bringing a few here. I've got a list of like 20 things. I'm bringing a few, and things in your mind may arise, and that's good. Then there's another nakuda where, apart from like the obedience in Torah mitzvahs, you have this nakuda of just speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So for example, hisbaidadus. Hisbaidadus is a person speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu either for a period of time during the day or throughout the day, speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, really? You couldn't find me a parking place? You found me a parking place? Shkoyach HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Or, lemashal, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I had such a hard day today, but then I learned a really amazing lesson. Thank you for sending that message to me. It was difficult, but thank you. I've learned a lot from it. So people can speak. There's this relationship that people have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's another shlav.
Can that be during sleep?
Can that be during sleep? It could be.
To do that in sleep
It's
mode?
difficult. It's not easy. It could be. I'm not going to take away from anything. It could be you have a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in your sleep. Some people are quite open to dreams and talking openly in dreams to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Could be.
I don't mean the physical, like sleep in bed. I mean like in the sleep state.
So I missed that. No, typically not.
Really?
Typically.
Oh yeah, Hashem, thanks for that.
But they. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe in a sleep state they'll still be talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or not thanking. Talking to Hashem. It's different than just thanking. It's talking. It's having a conversation, like we're having a conversation to the Baira Olam. So maybe, I don't know. Again, one thing that I try to be very cautious of is I don't try to shut down. And I'm not, believe it or not, I don't know everything. I'm not the all-knowing one. So I'd rather say I don't know and it could be. And we were speaking about this. Where were we speaking? We were speaking about it on Tuesday, about it could be. Was it with us? In it could be to it is. And the reason, it's not that it's a sign of weakness, it's a sign of flexibility. That was weird. Yeah, it's not a sign. I look at it, it could be, as a sign of weakness. But then the Empress Lady reframed it, and it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign, there needs to be a flexibility.
Right, the muscle with the skyscraper.
Correct. Marshall, with the skyscraper, the higher you go with the skyscraper, the more you have to have room to move and sway. It's a sign of strength. And I battle with it because a lot of the time people want black and white. But the hashkafa that I received, which I believe is a very real hashkafa, is HaShem is big and the Torah is big. So I don't want to shut down what you're saying. So it could be. In sleep state, can a person have these conversations? The answer, Mistama, yeah, they can have a conversation. Is it as conscious as a conscious conversation? Well, let's think about it. In regards of speaking to one another, you could for sure have a conversation and you're not so present. So yeah, could be. So this nakud of hisbaidadus. Then there's another form of avodah and connecting to the Bara Olam, hisbaidadus, which can be more of an internal world, an internal relationship where, for example, I'm finding a quiet space and I'm meditating, yichudim, you pick up, for example, a sefer and you're meyached, so you could have, for example, Shem Havai, you take a yichud, yud, hey, and a vav, hey, and you're meyached, and you're channeling, it could be yichudim, or it could be other forms of yichudim, not in tefillah, but you found yourself a quiet space and you're meditating, you're breathing in HaShem, sharing it out with the world. HaShem loves me, sharing that love out with the world from different avodas, from different tzaddikim, for example. So that's another observation of how people connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So again, number one, autopilot. Number two, could be obedience. Number three, we mentioned just speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a relationship-based sicha. Next is hisbainanus, which is more internal. Then I would say there's another one to bring up now, and this is related to our text. As we know, we are in HaMakom. And in regards to what HaMakom is, we are in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We are in HaMakom. And when we understand we are in HaMakom, constructs of HaMakom as well, relating to how we relate to the world, is olam, shanah, nefesh, space, time, and self. So, again, let's work from a more rational perspective of what I can relate to. Stage one, nefesh. There's a me. There's a body, there's a mind, there's a you, body and mind. That's the nakuda of nefesh. You exist as a humanoid, you exist as a human being. Nefesh. Shanah is time. We have a clock on the wall, and the clock, we have created a relationship where this time on the wall is allowing us to assemble some sort of standard, community standard in when to do things, how to do things, when to meet. And Shanah is a very deep nakuda. We now have a timeline, 6,000 years. We have years. We have months. We have weeks. We have days. We have hours. We have minutes. We have moments, a rega. So this nakuda of time, we already can speak very clearly that we are all relating to. As well, olam. Olam is space. Olam is space, so right now we occupy a space, but we are in a space. We are in our quaint Beis HaMedrash. We are in Ramat Shiloh, a space of Ramat Shiloh. We are in Ramat Bet Shemesh Aleph. This is a space. We are in Eretz Yisrael. And all of that is in HaMakom. Nefesh, Shanah, and Olam are within HaMakom. We are all within HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Nakuda named HaMakom. Now, this nakuda of HaMakom is a experience, it's a sense, and it's odd. Whereas I can logically and rationally explain nefesh, shana, and olam rather easily. I think everyone gets that, nachon? I exist, I'm flesh and bones, and we're in a space right now. I look around, I'm in a space, and there's a time on the wall. I think all of us get that. All of us easily get that, okay, Shacharis is 8:30, Shiur today 9:50. If I want to turn up, I come to this space and I turn up. Easy. Really, our bigger wanting as well, in connection to what we believe in, is makom. This now, as I said, is a little bit more abstract. It's a sense that everything is interconnected. It's a sense I'm in something magnificently massive. It's I have no comprehension. It's a sense that everything within this olam, shanah, nefesh framework is interconnected. It's all connected. There's a yichud that's going on. And this is something very important. The way we start to tap into this, and I've tried very hard to create a situation where already those people who are turning up, you're being primed already to fit into nefesh or to fit into makom. And that is, for example, habata. For example, habata, when we slow down, we just breathe and we feel the ground under our feet. Habata, to observe. I feel me being in my own body, my thoughts, feelings and physical sensations, non-judgmental observation. And then I can shift into the quiet behind all the animation, the silence behind all the animation. Just to stop and I can listen. And every sound is connected. And there's a plethora of sounds that are going on right now. And I just look around. Everything is connected. The floors are connected to the tables. The chairs, in context, fit under the tables on the floor. The books on the table. The walls. The lights are connected to the ceiling, the ceiling's connected to the walls are connected to the floor, chairs on tables, doors. Everything is perfectly positioned in this moment. Everything is deeply interconnected. Everything is a complete and utter revelation of Ein Sof. And when we can slow down and allow this to be, sometimes we can rise out of the cerebral into makom, where everything starts to become echad. And I can start to relate to the silence behind all things, the stillness behind all things. And when we speak about achdus and we speak about unity, the major poison that we experience today is we're not being led into it. Like everything, we need to be led into it. We mentioned right at the beginning that when we're speaking about Yiddishkeit, there could be a Yiddishkeit of rules, and that's important. A Yiddishkeit of the Limud HaTorah, the Gemara, Rashi, Tosfos, the Halachot, and that's important. The do's and the don'ts on the micro level, that's all important. That's the foreground. The background is knowing how I work. The background is realizing that the Tselem Elokim is made up of parts, and I want to be aware of those parts. I want to be able not just to be aware of them, I want to develop a conscious competency to know, I have a nefesh, I have a ruach, I have a neshama, and that's not enough. I need to be able to tag, the experience of the nefesh is A, B, and C. The experience of the ruach is A, B, and C. The experience of the neshama is A, B, and C. I need to be able to experientially tag. I need to know, and this is the beauty of Torah. This is the beauty of Torah. Remember, I was speaking once to the Biala Rebbe about the Perush of the Lubavitcher Rebbe on Rashi. And the Rebbe said something so simple. He said that Rashi wrote a Perush that even a child can understand it, as well as the biggest Gadol Hador. Because it's experiential. It's talking to the human experience. So bevadai, it needs to be like that. What actually that means needs to be unpacked. But just taking this idea that every single human being works the same way. And if we can shift out of the ego, which we label the nefesh, getting caught up in our thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations, if we can shift out of that into the ruach, which is this silence behind all things, the quiet behind all things, we can then become a vessel to receive from the neshama. We can become a vessel to receive insight on whatever level, whatever gradient. And this is why, for example, ruchnius we translate as vibrational frequency. It's a vibration. And what we want, we mentioned this in another recording, I think we mentioned it in this space, that ruchnius can be translated as spirituality, but that's a little bit abstract. Ruchnius as in vibrational frequency. There's lower, heavier vibrational frequencies, and there's higher vibrational frequencies. The moment I can work on at least having a conversation, not autopilot, not just obedience, not just talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not just his beinunus, but when I can start to enter a state called HaMakom, that's where there's a big shift. And it's odd, especially if this is the first time you've heard this idea, it sounds odd. It sounds weird. And that's okay. We have to start somewhere. When a person first goes to the gym, I'm a personal trainer, I do personal training, and I always tell the people I work with that when you're first going to go to the gym, you are going to ache, and you're going to ache in places that you didn't even know that you had. It's okay. 1 week will pass, 2 weeks, a month will pass, a year into really taking your health seriously. You're going to turn to the person next to you who's just starting, and you will say, from experience, I want to tell you that you're going to ache in places that you didn't know you would ache. You didn't even know you had those body parts. But then after a certain amount of time, you're used to it. You become a person who, okay, it's ragil. It's the same with this language. If we're not guided into a Yiddishkeit, in the different dimensions, if we are used to a very linear Yiddishkeit, which is okay as well, there's no fighting, there's no controversy. You know, sometimes people say, oh, very controversial. There's nothing, like it's silly. Kapshutai, this is within our Sfarim, this is HaMakom. If a person wants to see a dugma of a person living in HaMakom, I'm sure there are many. One of my heroes is Rav Itzhak Morgenstern. He lives in HaMakom. That's why when a person's around him, you feel it's an odd energy. It's very odd. It's not a usual energy. When you're around the Rebbe, it's a very odd energy. He is in HaMakom. I don't know many tzaddikim who are in a state of HaMakom. I don't know many. It's a very interesting experience that you can't necessarily talk to. It's a weird experience.
HaMakom, you mean the state of unity?
It's HaMakom. Well, HaMakom is that unity.
Right.
It is that darga. It is that darga. And if all of Am Yisrael were speaking this darga, it's not to do with frum or not frum, shaymet Torah mitzvahs. The nakuda is this state breeds health. This state breeds patience. It breeds tolerance. It breeds the greatest insight. This really is the next stage of our evolution.
Isn't this what we're naturally coming to now?
I believe so. I believe so. People are experiencing odd experiences, and what we need to do is with chokhmah is to speak to those experiences, validate those experiences, and work on, if you have a tradition, which already you have wisdom, you've met a number of tzaddikim, whether it's been, different tzaddikim, I don't think they'll want me to say the name live, but certain tzaddikim in the area that you've met that have already a tradition of this for over 90 years, they've been practicing this. When you listen to them, they're there already. It's like you have, and any way that we can upgrade our own lives, and any way we can upgrade other people's lives, one person at a time. Kapshutai, we have a duty. That's our responsibility. Our responsibility, as we've said, and I use this Lashon specifically, we are the healers of the world. Am Yisrael is the healers of the world, and we don't have time to blame. We don't have time, oh, my fault, his fault, nothing. Caring, sharing, supporting, and encouraging with good, firm boundaries. We don't have time for anything else. And part of our duty as a nation is to break through the klippas, to break through our poisonous thinking, our polluted thinking. And we can. We are speaking a language of how to do that. The tzaddikim gave reshus now to move into this stage. Journey begins is stage 1. Now we're speaking to a slightly more mature experience. But the fact is, as we will read through this text in but a few moments after the questions, that here is a pathway. At least we can speak about it. It's cerebral. Let it start off cerebral. Like there's no rush. On a certain respect, there's no rush. Obviously, there is a rush, but there's no rush. There's no rush. It needs to be done where your growth has room for everybody's growth. This is a major issue that a lot of people feel. I speak to a lot of people. There's a couple that they speak to us a lot, and she became very connected to Breslov, and he is mamash. I don't think he has a heart. You know, when they speak about like cold-hearted Litvak, he's like he learnt in Ponovich, in the most Litvish of Litvish. And anyway, we joke about it. But he has no hasaga to Breslov, and she has a hasaga to Breslov. And I spoke to them and I said to them, there's no problem you have no hasaga to Breslov, and there's no problem you have a hasaga to Breslov. You have a connection to Breslov. There's no problem. What is the problem when ego gets in the way? I'm experiencing this feeling, that means you need to experience that feeling. I'm feeling this joy, and I want you to feel it. I want you to feel it. And I'll tell you, this guy will never ever pick up a Breslov Sefer. He's tried. It's not his language. And that's okay.
Why do we have to heal the world? Just let everyone be, because everyone's okay.
We're hurting. Not everyone is okay. We're hurting. Let's take everyone to a darga where they feel better. Stage 1, where they feel better. We're in pain. That pain is non-godliness. We have to work through it. Part of Avodah is to bring around within the pain godliness. But the way people are experiencing today is non-godliness. HaShem is found in the darkness. Part of our Avodah is a descent into the darkness, but it's not to stay there. If a person stays there a whole Gilgul, so be it. But we want to be able to find HaShem in the darkness. It's a conversation within itself. The Zohar says the light comes out of the darkness. Ribui Or is a tremendous amount of light. Yeridas Hadaros, as we've said, is a descent into the darkness to bring the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu into that darkness. But we're not meant to stay there. We're not meant to celebrate it day in, day out. So we have to try our best, and it's up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everyone is a shliach. I need to work on myself and to be vulnerable and to be open. You know, you hear me. I put my teachers, they said, you have to put your life on the line every time you speak, reading, and I have to have somebody here to help me read if I can't read. What is that sharing? I've got a duty. If I can't manifest the duty in every area, so somebody will help me. Kipshutai. But it's to have that way of being that I feel okay inside. And I'm working on myself. I don't feel okay inside. But I've got people around me, and we help each other. We help each other blossom and grow and develop.
So we're not pushing Breslov on him, but we would want to teach him or push healing on him so he can feel better.
Correct. And Tachlis, since I first spoke to them to now, and I gave him to read The Journey Begins in Awakening. Bit difficult. She's American, he's Israeli, so he read it to her, she read it to him, but he chapped this straight away. And everything, he learned Sugi more be'ir now. At the end of the day, we're looking at the goal. We want a world where it's shining. We want a world where people are feeling good. We're an organism. We're functioning. We want to move to our next shift, our next stage in evolution. And how that will occur, so we have a guidance system. But at the end of the day, HaShem is big. In HaMakom, you realize HaShem is so big, and we have 6,000 years, and there is this natural progression, and it is in play. The world's bigger than me. The world's bigger than you. It's big. And I just have to do my part. And when I'm in Makom, I can have more patience for recognizing that it's big. HaShem is big, the Torah is big. And it's love. It's really, really, there's so much love in the world. And all people want to do is love and connect. And if they're not guided in how to love and connect, it will come out in violence. What is violence? All violence is one thing only. It's wanting to connect, and it's wanting to love. Mitzad, darkness, klipa. Misad darkness klipa. It's when somebody gets annoyed with somebody else, it's because they are terrified to be vulnerable. If somebody's triggered by something, it's because they care, not because they don't care. It's odd. It sounds counterintuitive. So when a child is freaking out, it's easier to see when with the child. It's not personal. Like children, they'll come. And I remember my father, a child, again, this is probably to do with the Israeli mentality as well, and this was in England. So somebody, like a 5-6-year-old child came up to my father and said, "You're fat." And my father looked, goes, "Yeah, you're right." And the parent was, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." So he knows truth. The child knows truth. It's not malicious. It's not offensive. It's like, yeah, I'm fat. What do you want? I have to do something about it if I choose to do something about it. But then what happens for a lot of people, the internal world of thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations kick on. The ego kicks on and we descend out of HaMakom. I descend out of HaMakom. One moment I'm in HaMakom. Bang, into nefesh, and it's like, what? I'm not fat. How dare you say something like that? What the heck are you talking about? I'm not fat. How rude of you, to a 5-year-old kid. We lose the tolerance. We lose the compassion. In this world that we're speaking about, this stage, it's to ascend. It's interesting. I was talking to my daughter when she left the house yesterday. We laughed because people say, "Oh, we fall in love." Actually, we ascend in love. We don't fall in love. Or "I love you to bits." You have that saying in London? "I love you to bits." In America, you have that saying?
I love you to pieces.
I love you to pieces. Well, instead of that, "I love you to whole." It sounds odd, but we have this funny coding of "I love you to pieces." I love you to bits, but I love you to whole. This language, we want to be bigger. We want to ascend. We want to transcend the nefesh. And it's avodah. It's an avodah. But when we do transcend, when we are guided into this experience, this is when ruach HaKodesh switches on. This is when nevuah switches on. And I'm talking as well, validating the fact that a lot of us may seem very far away from it. I'm validating that. I'm not talking anyone away from the experience that they're experiencing. So with that as a hagdama, let's take any other questions and then we'll go through, we'll start again with that as a hagdama. Yes, sir.
It's a little bit, maybe it's a more advanced question, but could it be that the higher levels of ruach HaKodesh or nevuah, eventually nevuah, is the result of the more a person's connected to HaMakom? Like
Correct.
The more
Correct. Yes. You had to.
I was just I guess apropos of the Parsha Shavua, there's midrashim that talk about how Noach and before they had like this natural glow in their skin. So with what the Rebbe just talking about, the idea of being healers, but the natural consequence of being an or lagoyim is that there's a healing in that light. Like it's referred to also with the sun has like a healingness to it as well.
Yes.
Right. That's the notion.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Regarding the definition of ruchnius as vibrational frequency, my anti-New Age nefesh is very, I really would like us to define that further, please.
Didn't we spoke about it were you here? So we spoke about, in the terms of ruchnius and vibrational frequency, we spoke about, again, what we want to try and do is work on, where we can in language, taking terms and using the classical term, but as well adding a dimension of experience. So we spoke about 3 stages and we gave the midos to each stage. There's a lower level of vibrational frequency, anxiety, depression, stress, all of our polluted thinking. Then we could shift into the world of ruach, which is tolerance, patience, das, consciousness. And then you have the highest, which is awe and love. That's the highest frequency. And what we want is that we want to raise our vibrational frequency, and that's very much to do with the Arbi Yisodus of physical health, financial health. The more that you have the baseline bedrock elements in place that we should hold as normal, healthy human beings, we could start to raise what we call our vibrational frequency. And that's what we can call ruchnius. And for sure, when we spoke about it last time, we spoke about it for about 20 minutes. So I'm not sure where it is. I don't remember where it is. I'm just trying to think. On Pilsner Public, there's a 10-page article on it. Ruchnius translating as vibrational frequency. And that higher vibrational frequency, it breaks through all the klipa. So that's the whole nakuda. You are an olam katan. So when you heal, you bring healing. When you're more joyous, you bring joy. You change the frequency of the surrounding area. And that's ultimately we will want, one person at a time, hopefully at least playing with these ideas, having the conversations of these ideas, and then bringing joy into every aspect of your life, bringing love, bringing awe into every aspect of your life. Yes?
What are the practical steps that we take, aside from Torah mitzvahs, to raise that frequency? Because sometimes when you're in a lower vibrational frequency and you try to tap into Torah and mitzvahs as the avenue to raise it, because you're so low, you tap into Torah and mitzvahs from that low place.
Amazing question. So the question again, just to make sure it's heard, when a person's in a low state and they try to use Torah mitzvahs to raise their vibrational frequency, sometimes the Torah mitzvahs become low as well. That's what I'm hearing from you?
It's not effective to raise when you're in that low state, it's hard to find the thing to help you move up.
So things like habata, exercises like habata, exercises like hislavus, which is trying to, there's a saying, fake it until you make it.
Yeah.
Really, there's no such thing. Your mind actually doesn't know the difference. Your neurology doesn't know the difference. But dancing, trying to shift your state. But the other thing that we want to understand is when a person's in a low state, sometimes they can't shift it. And you know what we say to that? It's okay, because it will pass. And hopefully you have people around you who can at least tolerate and hold. I have a friend of mine right now, and he just went back from America. He just went back to America, and he's got clinical depression, and he's been in and out of hospitals now for about 1.5 years, and it's an amazing thing because what happened is that when he started his journey downhill, where it came from, who knows where it came from? No, but the fact is he's experiencing it. And one of their Rebbes the Skver Rebbe. The Rebbe is the Skverim. The Skver Rebbe sat with them and said to them that I want you to know that your avodah is to become Balei Das. Your avodah is to become Balei Das. And he spoke, it's an older couple with older children, and all the children live close to each other. They live in, I think they live in Skver. There's a Skver. Mm-hmm. They live in the shanah in America, New Skver. And he said, your avodah is to now open up your das. And this is your avodah. His avodah is to experience what he's experiencing, and hopefully it will pass, and you have to do everything that you need to do to make it pass to the best of your ability. But the rest of the family is to open up their das. That's your avodah right now. And the one thing is that as a nation, as a group of people, as healing takes place, we need to be there for each other, and it's not always easy. When his wife says, listen, it's really demanding on me because day in, day out, it's like I never know what I'm going to get. Once upon a time, I had a really solid husband who I knew he was up at 4:45 every single morning. Today, he could sleep all day. And I'm constantly relating to my nefesh. Shh. I've taken on the brunt of the household. Shh. We just have to work it out. We have to work it out. But again, just relating to what you're saying, it's true. I have to try and shift it. And there's things that we can do. Go for a walk. Reb Tzadok HaKohen says, when sometimes you're in a funk, just go to sleep. Go to sleep, listen to music. Try to find what can make that shift. But sometimes, nothing will help.
It's actually the advice when you're in a low state, let me know if this is correct, when you're in a low state, the advice is not necessarily Torah and mitzvah
Correct.
related. It's
Correct.
more like see the things that are world that actually moves you to a better place.
Correct.
And then you try to connect to Torah.
Correct. And that's called Derech Eretz Kadma L'Torah. Derech Eretz Kadma L'Torah.
So it's like resetting the paradigm in a way.
Yes.
So Makom is made up of everything, right?
Everything is within Makom in the general language that we're sharing now. Yes.
Right, so and included within that is nefesh, ruach, neshama, and the experience. So is connecting to that Makom.
Just can I pull back? Within Makom, what we said is nefesh, shanah, and olam. Olam, shanah, nefesh. Based on the
included in nefesh is ruach, neshama.
yes, that's based on the
Right.
Sefer Yetzirah 6.3.
Right. So
6.1.
Is the Habata exercise between being mabet, observing the Pnimi and Chitzoni enough to be able to get to understand those different levels?
Experientially or
is that
cerebrally? Experientially or cerebrally?
So the question is, to get to, let's say, the higher levels of Ruach HaKodesh, does it have to be experiential or cerebral?
Yes. It needs the healing process, tashuv hey, returning the hey, that's the malchus. It includes an integration, yes. It includes, it may, again, I'm very cautious of definitives. It has to be. Maybe not, but the way that I was educated, you need to be grounded, you need to have tikkun hamidos, there needs to be an integration.
Can one discover it on their own just through that exercise, or is this
Yes.
taught information about what the experience is?
Well, one can experience it. They may not unless they have the name and the definition and experience, they will experience. I believe everyone has experienced Ruach HaKodesh Ma'at. I believe everybody has experienced Ruach HaKodesh Ma'at. They may not know it. That's the problem that we're dealing with, is that we are speaking about things we want to achieve, and there's a name to it and an experience. And because a person thinks it's something really abstract, when you turn to somebody and you show them what you've just told me now is called Ruach HaKodesh Ma'at, and you open up a Rambam, and the first level of the Rambam is that, whoa, you look at the words on the page. Me? How can I do that? No, everybody can do that.
What's the difference in knowing that? And having definitions, does it make a difference?
It may, if you want it to be Toradic and you want to start from your silam, again, that's the nakud of nefesh and das. If I have that thought, I could become aware of, I've just had an ego thought, look, have Ruach HaKodesh. It's okay. It's the same, it's what we're doing, we're labeling experiences that we are going to have, and we're labeling experiences that most people have had already. And that I believe deeply, even though this may sound a little bit weird, but you think about it, I believe deeply it makes Yiddishkeit a lot more, you become a lot more connected. It makes Yiddishkeit, look at this, there's something to it. I know for me in my life, I always loved, I never really had I always had a very deep connection to HaShem and Torah. I'm frustrated with it and I hate it at times. My hatred, there's times when I'm davening, it's like, I wish I was dead, just take me now. But I love HaShem and I love the Torah and I love it. And for sure, when I'm speaking to people who have had their challenges, when you can show them the work that you've done in this program that you're doing now is the first two levels of Ruach HaKodesh, and it's mapped out and I could show it to you in a text, it's like, oh wow, look at that. And there's a rehabilitation to rise in love to HaShem. There's a rehabilitation to rise in love to Torah and mitzvahs.
Are the definitions necessary?
They become necessary. They become necessary. You know, people say to me, I had a guy for a number of years, he was in prison in America, and he was a Jew. And when he was in prison, he found religion. He found Christianity, and he had visions of what he said, I had visions of Jesus, I had visions of Christ. And he was very adamant, and he believed in the New Testament. He married an Israeli girl, and he came to Israel. They went to live in Modi'in, and my brother-in-law put me in touch with him. And we sat for a long time, and there was an intense detoxing. And I said to him, I want to share with you, look at your vision, And the reason why I use those terms, he had a vision of. Look at the words on the pages. He read Hebrew. Look at the words on the pages of this Avodah Sefer, and now tell me about your experience. And he says, oh, my experience maybe was a tzaddik, maybe it was like an Eliyahu Navi, maybe it was... So I think it's important because people have experiences, and either you can your experience is nothing, or tachlis they had an experience, and that experience could be a leverage point to grow. So I think it's important to really listen, take note, and validate on a certain respect. That's your experience, and then have the ability, hopefully through Tam V'das, to show them maybe the experience that you experienced could have been something else. It could have been this, maybe. Tachlis, this person today, he became, he really made shifts. He let go of Christianity, and he believes in HaShem. And it happened because we did not validate his experience, but showed him that in our texts we have these experiences. Does that speak to what you...
Reframing.
Reframing.
Because he has the definitions, and it can help reframe and guide.
It can help reframe and guide someone. So, okay. Tov, with everything that we've spoken about, let's go through a few of the paragraphs here. And again, I apologize. We're speaking around the information as well. I just want to validate. Some people may say, no, read the text. I get that. And right now we're not doing that. Maybe something will change. I want to be able to speak out these ideas, and hopefully I've got messages from people online that has been very helpful, and hopefully we will carry on being helpful. So I'm just going to, we started this last time. We'll see how far we get. And hopefully with this Hagdama, all of this is just going to fit better. It's going to make more sense. So awakening, attuning. When we look out at our world, things appear very distinct. For example, right now I'm looking at a white plate with a metal spoon resting on a wooden table with a velvet tablecloth. In this brief observation, we see how things have different colors, shapes, and textures. Yet, what we can share is that it's not the fullest truth. When we start attuning, observing to reality, there's more beneath where... What we can start to choose... Okay, Reb Simcha Yosef, come. Thank you.
I have it. When we start attuning ourselves to reality...
Do you have your eyes in?
Kind of.
Okay.
There is a beneath where the more beyond the surface we go, the more we meet a reality where things become the same, and there is a unifying force. There is an energy. There is an infinite light. In this place, all things are connected. All things are one. All things can be viewed from a place of love.
So this is already speaking to what we labeled as an experience that we can shift into called Makom.
What does it do with love?
Because the two higher states, Chokhmah and Bina is to do with Ahava and Yira. Or as in Yira, which again is a whole conversation within itself. Chesed and Gevura is already a manifestation of that, but Chokhmah and Bina is Torah and Tefillah, it's love and awe. Okay.
There is a fundamental principle and axiomatic truth that everything emanates from an original source, an infinite light energy. The struggle and challenge is that we cannot relate to it directly. However, HaShem has given us the ability to connect to His energy light through many filters, levels, and layers. This means that all human experience is actually felt and experienced through our lenses of perception. We can call all of these lenses levushim, as seen in Tanya chapters 4 and 5. Our grasp of Hashem's infinite light can only come through the metaphors inherent in human existence.
And this is as well something really important. We speak in terms of metaphors. We even understand each other in terms of metaphors. I'm at the end of my rope. Well, put the rope down. Make the rope longer. You're pushing me. What's the metaphor?
Push me to the edge.
You're pushing me to the edge. Well, make the edge longer or put a parachute on. It's like, I feel the world resting on my shoulders. Okay, I hope you don't get crushed. Well, I've got a broken heart. Well, if you do, it's not going to be so good. We speak in metaphoric language. And more than that, we understand each other in metaphoric language. And the question is, what do we do with that? So we could become aware of that and to realize that we relate to reality through levushim. And alpi halacha, there's a series I have on the Chagim where in the second and third video, it's a video series, in the second and third video I go tremendously in depth with this nakuda of levushim from all over Shas and Poskim. Why do we wear nice clothes, Yom Tov? What's the Indian of wearing nice clothes, different clothes? All to do with the respect that I'm relating to levushim. It's mechilta.
Internal levush.
External and internal. My body's a levush. The clothes I wear are a levush. So on Shabbos, I wear different clothes to not do away with the levushim. All I can do is work with the levushim. I can't change that.
They're parallel.
They're paralleling. So we have this nakuda of levushim, metaphor. And when I'm in HaMakom, I start to realize that everyone's relating to their metaphors. Everyone's relating to their perception. When I'm in HaMakom, I can have more rachamim. Rechem is space. Space is to do with HaMakom. Let's carry on.
What we may find is that when we look at our world, things are very distinct and changing all the time. The further beneath we go, the more things are similar, and eventually, as reality evolves, we see that there is a constancy and sameness. We meet no thing.
This as well is very important. I'm trying to share here, and I think I say it in the text if I remember. One thing which is really important to us as human beings from an educational standpoint is letting the information meet the student. So when I'm studying this information, I should meet it. I should let it meet it from where I'm relating life from. So the point is, what we have said, and we said this in The Journey Begins, I know I'm not you. You know you are not me. I know I don't have your thinking. You know you don't have my thinking. That's quite obvious. You know you are not the stender. You know you're not the floor. I know you are not the floor. I know I'm not the floor. So the point is, what we can do is we can educationally, rationally, and sequentially tag what I am and what I am not. And we can have conversations. And the moment, and this is brought by the Heilige Chernobyl, the Moranim writes, in Avodas Hashem, if you have a ladder and the runs of the ladder are too wide, it's very abstract. I want to be able to create runs that are enough that it's not like I can't get my foot in and go up, but it's enough where I'm moving up the ladder. And everything, I'll tell you, everything that I know I'm trying to do is talking to that. That's why even in regards to like meditation and all of these very subjective experiences, they can only be met through conversation of more cerebral objective experience. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to build, okay, there's a table, there's a tablecloth, and we're looking at the parts, we're looking at the colors, but then when we go in, when we go beneath, when we go under, it becomes sequentially logical, reasonable, and rational that the jump to HaMakom, at least cerebral, is not too big. But again, who has to judge that? You do. I tried to do this myself. I found this helpful with all the groups that I have shared this with. It's been helpful, and people will get it at different times. So let's carry on.
In terms of human experience, we each come from different places and different families. We have different experiences, which obviously leads to our different perceptions and different behaviors. And this individuation is very important and healthy. There's also a place where all things come from, where all is the same and whole, where all humanity is traced back to the same beginnings and has the same fundamental ways of interacting with the world. Acknowledging this oneness is good as well. It is healing and natural and so needed. Exile is an experience of being disconnected from this oneness, living with a mentality that lends to an experience of feeling isolated, misplaced, jaded, and misunderstood. An exile mentality leaves space for all the masks and lenses of perception that our minds create to distort this reality of wholeness. When we do remember our origins of being part of a wholesome oneness, this births a shift to a mentality of emergent redemption. It manifests as more than a cerebral acknowledgement, opening a door to an all-encompassing experience of love and acceptance. While this oneness is very ethereal and abstract, love, acceptance, and joy are the outer layer, the levush of that oneness that we can experience.
So this is as well very important. We're not saying here that you drop your identity. We're not saying here that you lose touch with Torah and mitzvahs, with Kedusha and Tahara. We're not saying here that all that goes on is okay. We're not saying that. What we are saying, the stronger you are within yourself, and this is the dichotomy, this is the paradox, the more you are in a state of Gevura, Yitzchak. That's why Yitzchak is the one that ushers in Moshiach. You have to reclaim your Gevura. You have to have such a strong sense of self, a strong sense of self-belief. And part of what we do, as a lot of you know, in our chaburas, we speak to that building of self. That you have a strong identity, you have a confidence, you have a self-esteem. Confidence is the nefesh's ability to say, I've done this and I've done that, I've achieved this and I've achieved that. It's the goals that you've achieved. That's bechina of confidence, nefesh. I've learned languages, I've learned this dapim Gemara, I understand it really well. And what self-esteem, a bechina of das. Das is internal, that I don't need my nefesh to feel good. I don't need my nefesh to feel good. There's an exercise that we do in the chaburas. Imagine your body is taken away from you. Imagine your memories are taken away from you. Imagine that all your skills and all your talents, imagine all your accomplishments are taken away from you. How would you feel? If you have das, you will feel okay. If you have das, you'll feel okay. You'll feel you just are. I wouldn't even say better. You're good. You're good. You just are.
Like from the point of Ishtabas?
Yeah, I just am. And when, for example, I'm in this world where, I've lost all my memories, it's the most painful thing. If you are around someone who's got dementia and losing their memories, like, wow, when somebody that loves you and you love them. I was talking to my friend whose mother, she's got dementia, and she walks into the room and she had such an amazing experience, Erev Rosh Hashanah. Her mother remembered her. For 2.5 years, her mother doesn't know who she is, and for 2.5 years, her mother thinks, are you trying to steal from me? Who are you? Why are you going into my pockets? Who are you? Are you a cat? What's going on here? And Erev Rosh Hashanah, she walks in. Shalom Aleichem, Dina, how are you? Wow, my girl. So self-esteem, this Nakuda of Das, is when you've lost all your memories and you're still in a world of self-health, so to speak. Confidence is respecting all of your accomplishments.
You're still in HaMakom.
You're in HaMakom. It's an odd reality, but it's an exercise that we should do because we want to build confidence and we want to build self-esteem. We want to build the nefesh in a healthy way and we want to build the das in a healthy way. And we're speaking to this. And the outer layers... Pardon? I was just going to say that the levush of the echad, because the echad is very abstract. The levush of the echad, I'm adding in, we said here the levush is love, acceptance and joy. They're the outer levushim. Also yira. Yira is awe. I don't know why I didn't put that in. Maybe we'll change it one day, I don't know. But yira is awe. Wow. They're the outer levushim of the echad. It's very difficult to speak to the echad. You have a guitar, someone's playing guitar and there's music. Where's the music coming from? I've got the body, the strings, the bridge. Where's the music coming from? Like, I can only talk around it, not about it. When I'm playing piano, I can tell you the infrastructure. Okay, I put my finger on a key and then there's a hammer. So where's the music coming from? I can't speak about it, I could speak around it. It's the same with das. I can't speak to das, I could speak around it. Levushim. And then for sure when we go higher. So we want to build a confidence where we are chalil v'chasa, not losing our identity. Yitzchak, tzchok, bechina of din. Yitzchak holds together the higher and the lower. We have a paper on this, and it's called Reclaiming Our Dignity, the Power of Gevura. It's Yitzchak that ushers in Moshiach. And that is for a very specific reason, because the more we go into the world of love and acceptance and validation, the stronger you have to be within your identity. Otherwise, Khalil v'chas, a person can get lost. I have to open up my Shulchan Aruch. Am I ticking off this halacha, this halacha, this halacha? Kedusha and Tahara, mikveh, having pure thoughts, working on myself. Very, very important. I want to make sure that that's articulated here. That's articulated here. I'm just looking at the time. 1 second. Let's finish this one paragraph.
When we become involved in this way of existing, we find we have a choice. That is, do we choose to live from this place of personal redemption or not? If we can exit our mind, leaving behind our assumptions and expectations, and enter the present moment with curiosity and acceptance, this seems to be the universal key to opening a passage to an upgraded life experience. When we do, it seems life is lived differently, in a good way. We can choose from moment to moment to function from this place to the best of our ability. Yet it takes time and remembering. Do we choose to live from deep within our layers of perception and masks, or are we prepared to let go, to peel back these layers and connect more to this beyond?
Okay, Baruch HaShem. Ad kan for today. Let's take, if there's any questions, and then we'll break up and share. Any questions that want to be asked, or any observations? Is this helpful? Is this, like, first of all, is this helpful? Is it too much? Is it too noisy? Is this helpful? Can I just get...
Yes.
It's helpful? You're getting something from it? Okay. Yeah.
When you say that love and acceptance and joy are the outer layer, and that they are the bush of the oneness, is it accurate to say that when we find ourselves in those states, not when we're trying to be accepting, when we find ourselves in a place of automatic acceptance, that is feedback for us that we are more in a state of HaMakom or oneness than when we find it difficult to be accepted?
I just want to repeat that. And if I misrepresent you, please tell me. Something very beautiful was said here. If naturally I find myself becoming more spacious, I can validate, I can tolerate, I can acceptance, I don't have to try. Am I naturally more in that state? The answer is yes.
And that's the feedback.
Yeah, it's a feedback, 100%. Yes.
It's almost like when the Torah requires of us to behave in certain ways in respect to our egos, it's not necessarily requiring us, it's trying to give us a map for how we can assess for ourselves where we are in relation to this level of oneness.
Yes.
So it's relating to us that when you find yourself in this space of be accepting, it's not, I think from what I remember of learning, it also goes the other way, where you can come from the outside and end up on the inside. You can be accepting even when you're not, or work
Yes.
to be accepting,
Yes.
and then you find yourself
Yeah,
in the
so
natural.
one is coming from a place of nefesh, and the other is coming from a place of das. When you're in a place of das, the Torah is inviting you, and you have that feedback loop. You have auspicious times. So, for example, in regards to Purim, in regards to Yom Kippur, in regards to any of the Chagim, any of the special days, Rosh Chodesh, there's a hitchadshus. Rosh Chodesh, there's a hitchadshus. The more that we are in tune, the more natural it is. Now, sometimes we do have those inner voices that arise and tell us otherwise. So I can become aware, okay, I was aware of that voice. So that's like outside in or inside out. But I would say, yes, it's a feedback loop. And I would suggest that a number of the tzaddikim, people who really cultivate and work on themselves, their natural state, it's interesting, just going back to Rav Morgenstern, you look at him, he's Bechin of Yitzchak, very, very gevura, very gevura. If anyone sees him, what's one thing that stands out, and you'll be my witness, he's laughing. He's got this grin on his face. You say things to him, he laughs. And you could say the most horrific things to him, and he'll laugh, and his laugh just relaxes you. Because is mamash gevuradik. He's in makom. And that's a natural, it's an odd reality, but the oddness of it is only because we were educated out of what it is to be a Tzelem Elokim. When we're educated into being a Tzelem Elokim, this becomes more and more natural. And again, I am validating that we in our own life may feel far away, but we still have to have this conversation. We have to talk about it.
Then we have the windows of it.
Correct.
We have peaks of it.
Correct.
That's why I think
Yeah.
what I was saying, for also if you have the language like that like lightning bolt before the darkness.
Yes.
You know when you
Yeah.
go back into darkness where
Yeah.
you're headed. Like
Yes,
what
you have. We have windows of it, and when we have a window, and you could label it, it gives us at least the ability to start the climb of the ladder.
If you have the flash of lightning, but you don't
Yeah.
have any labels
You don't know.
encode what
Yeah,
you saw.
you don't know.
If you're in the middle of a Dr. Seuss themed and you don't know if that's a tree or that's an animal and you have no concept, you see the flash of lightning, you don't actually know what anything is when you see it, then you can't use that information to encode it. as a map.
Dr. Zeus is who? Why Dr. Zeus?
I don't know, just I'm just imagining
Huh?
a landscape that.
Dr.
doesn't
Seuss,
make-
like all of his stuff
Dr.
is like
Seuss
this
is
very like a very twisty, curvy, almost like a tove avo, but like with smiles,
It's-
Yeah.
nice
it's
pictures,
a lot of-
Okay.
it's
nice
just-
colors.
it's vaguely familiar to the world that we live in, but the trees are made out of cotton pom-poms and the animals.
Like it's
have big
augmented
legs and
augmented
Yeah.
reality.
very
Interesting.
strange.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm saying, if you don't actually recognize anything that you see in that flash of lightning, if you don't have language to encode it as a memory, it's not going to function as a map for you in the future.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have an idea of how to sort of recognize what things are,
Yes.
then once you
Exactly,
have that flash
yeah.
of lightning, you
Yeah.
can then remember and encode that memory that this is where I'm headed for now, and that's where I want to be in the future, and I'm avoiding this area. And
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a map. I just want to, what we'll do, we'll break up in a minute in just to share, and if you want to come over to this side and share, you'll come over to this side and share. You could knock him down, force him. The nakuda of what we're sharing here, I get, is there's an abstract to it. And maybe you'll say, I did not get anything that was just spoken about. That's okay. That's okay. I got one thing. That's okay. You can't do anything wrong. You can't do anything wrong. You understand. You have to trust that you understand. And we've been in exile for such a long time, and we are wanting to make changes. And the takeaway, again, caring, sharing, supporting, and encouraging with good firm boundaries to feel safe in a relationship. Sometimes we will let each other down. Well, how forgiving are you? Sometimes you'll have a moment where you'll be able to say, you know what? Yeah, that was really respectful and nice of that person. It's okay. We are working on ourselves. We're building on ourselves. So, Be'ezras Hashem. So what we'll do now is we will stop, just check in, and Be'ezras Hashem, l'chaim, tovim u'l'shalom, bracha v'atzlacha.